So good day everyone, we are the group 10 and for today's video we are going to discuss and explain all about the navigational buoys, marks, and beacons. So the members of these groups are Deck Cadet Osing Gilbert, yours truly Deck Cadet Villarosa Gherome, and Deck Cadet Villegas Mick Raven. So next would be our course outcome. So our course outcome is to determine and also understand the application of the different navigational buoys, marks, and beacons, which is part in the Ayala Maritime Voyage Systems. So next would be the learning outcome, which is we gather that at the end of this session, the students, viewers, or the audiences should be able to comprehend and identify the different buoys, marks, and beacons that is shown in this section, and also upon encountering such navigational aids. So next would be the importance of this topic. So the importance of this topic is to aim to acquire good understanding of the Ayala Maritime Voyage System upon the intent of navigational aids such as the buoys, marks, and beacons, and also by ensuring that navigational aids are recognized globally and which is reliable in all conditions. So before we determine the different navigational buoys, marks, and beacons, let us know what are the definitions and what are the differences of the buoys and the beacons. So basically, buoy or buoys is a floating objects which is anchored at a definite location in order to guide or warn mariners to mark positions of submerged objects or to moor vessels in the lieu of or in the line of anchoring. So this navigational mark having the color, light, shape, retroreflective, and tape, and also the top marks. So while the beacons is a non-floating object which is fixed in seabed and navigational mark having color, light, shape, retroreflective tape, and top marks. So it's just the same with the buoy, but it may carry navigational aid which is direction finder, non-directional finder, and radar reflector. So example for this is the lighthouse. Lighthouse is a beacon wherein it is fixed on land, and buoys such as the lateral marks, safe water marks. Those are the examples of buoys which is fixed in seabed or floating through the water. So in continuation, so in navigation, traffic lights and signs guide drivers on the roads are part which makes the buoys and beacons a navigational light to do as the same on the water. So basically, as you can see in the picture embedded below, there are two directions, which is the downstream heading and out of the sea, and the upstream heading towards from the sea. So in next slide would be in Queensland, the system of the buoys, beacons, marks, and lights used is compliant with the International Association of Marine Aids to Navigation and Lighthouse Authorities, or which is called the Ayala Voyage System. So each of the type of the marks has its own color, shape, top mark, and light combination. So upon seeing this, we can already determine that Ayala paved the way in letting us know how we should navigate safely upon seeing the obstructions that are floating in the sea. So we also have different shapes of the buoys or the marks, which is pillar, spar, um, circular, triangle, and also cylindrical or cylinder. So the first buoy that we were going to tackle is the lateral marks. So lateral marks show the port, which is the left, and starboard, which is the right sides. So upon navigating within the waters or channels, a port mark is colored red with a can-like shape, and at night, a port buoy shows a red flashing light when it's lit, while a starboard mark is colored green with a cone-like shape, And at night, a starboard buoy shows a green light when it is lit. So also we need to remember that when traveling upstream or away from the sea, we should keep the port red marks on your port hand side, which is the left, and keep starboard, which is green, marks on your starboard hand side, which is on the right. So also when traveling downstream or towards the sea, we should bear in mind that we need to keep port, which is colored red, marks on your starboard hand side, which is on the right. And we should keep the starboard, which is color green, marks on your port hand side, which is on the left. So the next mark or buoy would be the cardinal mark. So cardinal marks show where the deepest and safest water is by using a compass. So they can mark where to find the deepest water in an area or the safe side to pass a danger. And also this has a feature in a channel for like example a bend or junction or at the end of a shoal, right? So we also need to know that cardinal marks have a colored black and yellow bands with a black double cones on top showing the different compass direction that identifies the safest and deepest water to travel in. So basically at night, this type or each type of these cardinal marks has a flashing white light with different groupings of flashes, which is the continuous or groups of 3, 6, or 9 flashes. So to just remember each type, we will just think of a compass face with the numbers of a clock, which is marked on its each direction, which is the north, east, south, and west. So next one would be the first cardinal mark, which is the north cardinal mark. So it shows that there is safe water to the north of the mark, which is the top cones of it, or which points out towards north. And at night, the white light flashes quickly or very quickly and sometimes continuously or always continuously. So next would be the east cardinal marks. So this mark shows that there is a safe water to the east of the mark. So the top cones are in the shape of an egg. So basically at night, the white light also flashes quickly or very quickly 3 times or every 5 or 10 seconds. Then after would be the south cardinal marks. So south cardinal marks shows that there is a safe water to the south of the mark. So basically the top cones point down or downwards to south. And at night the white light flashes quickly or very quickly, which is 6 times followed by a long flash every 10 or 15 seconds. Then the last one, which is the west cardinal mark. So it shows that there is a safe water to the west of the mark. So basically, the top cones makes the shape of a wine glass. So at night, the white light flashes quickly or very quickly 9 times every 10 or 15 seconds. So to easily remember it, the 3 or quick or very quick flashes for east, and then 6 for quick or very quick flashes followed by a long flash for south, and then 9 for quick or very quick flashes for west, and also continual for quick or very quick flashes for north. So the next one would be the isolated danger marks. So as we all know, this shows where there is an isolated danger that has navigable water all around it. Like for example, an isolated shoal or rock or even a wreck. But this doesn't mean that it's too fast to close. And also, isolated danger marks are black with one or more red horizontal bands and two spheres as the top mark. And at night, the white light flashes in groups of two, and to easily remember it, isolated danger marks think of two flashes of light with two spheres as the same as the top marks. Then the next one would be the safe water marks. So safe water marks shows that there is navigable water all around it. So like for example, fairway, middle channel, or landfall marks. So basically, safe watermarks have red and white vertical stripes with a single red sphere as the top mark. And also at night, a single white light shows in one long flash every 10 seconds. So just to remember the safe watermarks has to think that of one light with one long flash and one sphere for the top mark.
Special marks show a special area or feature, for example, to show that a channel divides to, or to mark cables or pipelines. The direction to travel around a special mark is usually referred or to shown on charts. So, special marks are yellow and sometimes have yellow X as the top marks. So in my understanding about special mark buoy is used to indicate a special area or feature whose nature may be apparent from reference to a chart or other nautical publication. The next one is emergency rig marking buoy. Emergency rig marking buoys are used to identify new dangers or risks. Second, they have blue and yellow vertical stripes and are a pillar or spar shape with a yellow cross as the top mark. At night also, the flashing light alternates between 1 second of blue light and 1 second of yellow light with 0.5 seconds of darkness in between. So my understanding about the junction buoys markers indicate the prepared channel at points where the waterway splits or branches off in the other direction. So the other one, non-buoys. These cone-shaped buoys are always marked with red markings and even numbers. Second, they mark the edge of the channel on your starboard side with entering from open sea or heading upstream. So, my understanding about non-buoys a red metal buoy made of two cones joined at the base and usually marking the starboard side of a channel approach from the sea. So we go to the last one, the can buoys. Can buoys, this is the cylindrical shape. Buoys are always marked with green markings and odd numbers. Uh, can buoys also they mark the edge of the channel on your port side with when entering from open sea or heading upstream. So my understanding about the can buoys buoy floating object anchored at a definite location to guide or warn mariners to mark positions of submerged objects or to mooring vessels in lieu of anchoring. The two international buoyage systems are used to mark channels and submerged dangers.
So next is the lighted buoys. These buoys use literal marker shapes, colors and number and have a matching colored lights. Then it has day mark which has a permanent sign attached to structures, such a post in the water. The common day marks are red triangles and green squares. They also may be lighted. Then the next mark is the red light returning. So in most circumstances, you can use the press as a reminder of the correct course when the returning from open water or heading upstream. So the next one will be the non-literal marks. So these marks are essential to basically give direction and information, warn of hazards, and obstruction, mark controlled areas, mark exclusion, plan closed areas. So what I understand about this mark is that it helps in giving information other than edges of safe water areas. And next is the safe water marks. So these are white with red vertical stripes and indicate unobstructed water on all sides. They mark mine channel and fairway and Mayan pass on either side. Then the inland water obstruction marks, they are white with black vertical stripes and indicate an obstruction to a navigation, and you should not pass between these buoys and nearest shore as per following the ILA buoyage system. And next is the mooring buoys. These are white with a blue horizontal band, usually placed in the marinas and other areas where vessels are allowed to anchor, and these are the only buoys you may tie up to legally.
Next would be the other navigational aids. So there are some other navigational aids to navigation that we need to be aware of, such as the first one, which are the leads. So leading lights, shape, or beacons usually display a triangular, and the front of it has an apex pointing up, and the rear or back lead has its apex pointing down. So it has a fixed white daylights and are sometimes used to mark the leads. And also during night, major leads are usual. So next one would be the blue middle channel marks. So these marks are fixed blue lights, and this shows that the middle of the channel for vessels which are passing under a bridge, and basically when it is on chart they are normally shown as a star with a flash symbol. So next one would be the directional lights and sector lights. So in this one, we have something similar purpose that such as the leading lights at channel entrances and inshore waters. So basically, most directional lights can be used as steering marks, and also sector lights, which displays a light of different colors, which is usually green, white, and red. So the last one, which is the port traffic signal lights. So these have three red vertical flashing lights that are remotely controlled by Maritime Safety Queensland's vessel traffic services, for us to tell others in that area that there's a large commercial ships which are moving in the port, harbor, marina, or other confined waterways. So also, vessels must not enter or depart to the port or harbor area when the port traffic signal lights are flashing. So those are the things that we've learned and understand about the navigational aids, which is partly about buoys, beacons, and marks. So we hope that you learned something from this video and that you were enlightened from all the topics that we've discussed about. So thanks for watching.